Article 4. And Ms. Binker-Cosen, would you please come forward and sit in the front row? The selectmen, by the way, have changed their position in this article from advocating a referral to supporting the main motion, which is found on the TAN supplement number 1, pages 1 through 8, moved by Mr. Vitolo and seconded by Ms. Heller. There's a referral vote offered by the advisory committee on somewhere in here. Moved a referral to the Tobacco Control Committee, moved by Mr. Lynn Jones, seconded by Ms. Humphrey. Ms. Binker-Cosen, you have 5 minutes. And would Dr. Ross, Dr. Sandell, and Rachel Martin please come forward and sit in the front row?
Thank you. I'm McKenna Binker-Cosen, a resident of Good evening. My name is McKenna Binker-Cosen. I'm a resident of Brookline, 175 Freeman Street, and a senior at Brookline High School. The purpose of Warrant Article 4 is that the town of Brookline enhance tobacco control regulations for reducing youth access in order to conform to the state's best practices. Before anything else, I would like to thank the members of the Board of Selectmen, the Advisory Committee, the Tobacco Control Committee, and the Department of Public Health for taking the time to meet with me. In 2014, Brookline raised the minimum smoking age to 21, and with good reason. 90% of smokers started smoking before the age of 18. Tobacco products are designed and marketed to catch the attention of young people under the age of 21, long enough for us, to become addicted to tobacco. There's no need for me to explain to any of you the well-known negative effects of tobacco consumption on an individual's health, and what is more, on the environment and the community they live in. However, it is because some of the tobacco products are made to be cheap, sweet, and easy to get that even though the minimum smoking age is 21 in Brookline, 5% of high school students, that's about 100 high school students, have reported smoking in the past 30 days in the 2016 Brookline Youth Risk Behavior Survey. As a reference, you can see on the slide above the locations of our schools and the tobacco and flavored tobacco retailers in our town. It is imperative that young people are given the time and space to educate themselves and make an informed, conscious decision about tobacco and their life. For this reason, the bylaw amendments in Warrant Article 4 respond directly to the problem of underage tobacco consumption by dismantling the mantra of sweet, cheap, and easy to get, made to deceive and appeal young people into smoking for the first time. First, let us consider the issue of flavored tobacco. In 2009, the FDA banned flavored cigarettes. This is because the underlying purpose of flavoring is to make tobacco taste good. Let me rephrase that. Flavors are added to tobacco products to mask the actual taste of tobacco because barely anyone ever likes the taste of tobacco the first time they try it. Flavors deceive the youth into believing tobacco tastes good and distracts them from what they are actually ingesting. This warrant article furthers the flavoring restriction to cigars as well. Most people, when they hear cigars, they think of an Habano. I want you to also think of cigarillos, small cigars about the size of a cigarette, cheaper than cigars, and loaded with flavors. Flavors like cherry dynamite, strawberry vanilla, watermelon, chocolate, mango pineapple, wild rush, blueberry, peach, tropical fusion, fruit punch, green sweet, and pina colada. We're not talking about real fruit, and we're not talking about a treat that you share after dinner with your family. We're talking about a product that is used with uses exciting flavors to distract people from the fact that it is harmful. This warrant article addresses the problem of access to flavored tobacco products by restricting the sale of flavored tobacco products to retail tobacco stores, in which you have to be at least 21 to even step a foot inside. There is no reason for flavored tobacco to be sold in stores which are open to all ages, including toddlers and teens. regarding youth access to other tobacco products within any retail store selling tobacco products, this amendment would require vendors to demand identification and post a visible sign near the register that specifies that their products can only be sold to and purchased by individuals over 21, such that there is no excuse from either side to allow this transaction to occur. Secondly, this warrant article establishes a minimum retail price for a cigar sold as a single item. Currently, a single cigar can be purchased for prices as low as 60 cents. These low prices lie in the perfect range of a 15-year-old's first tobacco product purchase. Thus, the warrant article establishes the minimum price of a cigar sold as a single item at $2.50. I would like to clarify that this applies to single items. Thus, this pricing does not affect the calculated individual price of a single cigar the calculated individual price of a cigar that is sold as part of a package or bulk. Through these measures, we further remove tobacco from the lives of younger people under 21, reducing the amount of people who start smoking, preventing future secondhand smoking, tobacco-related diseases, health risks, and a bundle of problems that come with every puff. What is more important, we will create a safer, cleaner, and healthier environment for the children and young adults of Brookline to grow up in. On one last note, I would like to add the idea that these amendments are no novelty. Currently, more than 2.4 million residents live in towns and cities across Massachusetts that have already adopted these same amendments proposed in the warrant article. Furthermore, Brookline is surrounded by cities with this legislation already in place. This includes Boston, this includes Newton, Cambridge, and Somerville. Brookline was the first community to ban tobacco in public facilities and among the first to raise the age of purchase to 21. But now our town has fallen behind others. We need to align with the best states' practices on tobacco regulations. The members of the Tobacco Control Committee of Brookline, including myself, have agreed after thorough discussion that Brookline needs to adopt these amendments. The Brookline Department of Public Health and Brookline Advisory Council on Public Health, and as just mentioned, the Board of Selectmen, have also given their support. I propose that we do not push this back further, and I am asking that you support these amendments now by voting yes on Warrant Article 4. Thank you very much.
Special thanks to Ms. Binker-Cosen, whose intelligence is exceeded only by her persistence. I call on Ms. Humphrey. It's especially heartening to have a member of the Brookline High School take such an active part in our political process.
Put it up here. Sietske Humphrey, Precinct 6, speaking on behalf of the Advisory Committee. We commend Makina for all the work that she has been involved in on behalf of our youth staying away from very harmful tobacco. The Advisory Committee had several reviews of Warrant Article 4, and the Advisory Committee voted to refer this article to the newly established Tobacco Control Committee with a 19-4-1 vote. Selectman Daly will give us an update on the work that the committee has done to date and that has influenced the change of the vote of the selectmen. The motion to reconsider Warrant Article 4 failed tonight at the Advisory Committee. Only 2 people voted for reconsideration. The Advisory Committee continues to be concerned in light of the recent emails received from our tobacco vendors and their wish to be participating in the hearings conducted by the Tobacco Control Committee, that they have not yet been included in that, and the Advisory Committee looks forward to a document that has been properly reviewed by them as well. A number of other questions continue to exist, in particular minimum pricing, not for the state but for the town, how the town is going to deal with that, and many others that are listed in the document. We hope that perhaps we will get more answers on that tonight, though, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I have 6 more speakers in favor of the petitioner's motion. I think we can stipulate that tobacco is bad for you, that it's a drain on our health care and economic resources, and I hope that the remaining speakers will focus on the motion and avoid repetition. Ms. Heller. Oh, Ms. Daly. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Nancy Daly for the Board of Selectmen. I am the chairman of the Selectmen's Tobacco Control Committee. We have met twice and we have discussed this, but I want to be clear, we were not able to hold a public hearing on this, so the committee was not able to give you an official recommendation. However, I myself, and I believe many of the members of the committee, are very sympathetic to Ms. Binker-Cosen's goals here. This article would change our existing tobacco control bylaw, and the three real substantive things that it would do is set the price on cigars sold individually or in packages of 2 at a minimum price of $2.50 per cigar. No outlet could sell flavored tobacco products except for retail tobacco stores, of which we have one in Brookline, the cigar store in Coolidge Corner. And as McKenna told you, you have to show ID when you go into that store, so it's different from a convenience store location. And finally, no outlet should sell or distribute blunt wraps, which are tubes, I guess usually made out of tobacco leaves, that intended to be filled with tobacco or whatever. We don't believe that anyone in Brookline is currently selling these. As McKenna told you, every community around us already has these provisions in effect. Currently, the age to buy tobacco products in Brookline is 21, but obviously, if you've ever walked around the high school, you know that many people below 21 are getting a hold of these products. And we, as the moderator stipulated, smoking is highly addictive. The flavored products, which the cigarettes, flavored cigarettes, have been banned nationwide, but this would carry the ban to the vaping products and to cigars and things like that that seem specifically designed to appeal to young people. We did get an email letter from many area merchants who would prefer to see this referred to the committee because they want all changes to the tobacco bylaw to be discussed together. They also mentioned that they thought tobacco should be considered equivalently with alcohol. One member of our committee, Elias Audi, who is a merchant that sells these products, doesn't have a problem with these provisions, however. And I would say that in response to that letter, that considering that all the communities around Brookline have these provisions in effect already, you're not disadvantaging our merchants vis-a-vis those in neighboring communities if you agree to favorable action on this. Furthermore, I don't know if Dr. Ross is in the front row, I don't know if he's going to say this or not, but he told us last night at our committee meeting that the deaths related to smoking in the U.S. per year are about 6 times greater than the deaths related to alcohol. So obviously the two things are not on an equivalent platform. Should you choose to refer this article to the committee, we anticipate that we would be bringing these back to you in the spring, and we can discuss them again if we do that. And we may have some other provisions. But I personally, and the Board of Selectmen, feels that we can go ahead with these and deal with whatever else comes up later. So by a unanimous vote, the Board of Selectmen urges favorable action on Warrant Article 4.
Thank you, Dr. Ross.
So as you're all well aware, cigarettes are bad, and they kill about 500,000 people in the U.S.
Let's have your name, sir, and your address.
John Ross, I'm a physician, and I'm on the Tobacco Control Committee. So as you're all well aware, cigarettes are bad. They kill about 500,000 people in the U.S. every year. So this is a unique problem for a business if your products kill your customers. If you make toothpaste or deodorant, you don't have to worry about your customers dying of COPD or lung cancer. as big tobacco does. So dying smokers are a big problem for big tobacco. If you look at company memos inside big tobacco, they write about the need for replacement smokers. So who exactly are these replacement smokers? In fact, they are primarily kids and young people. So about 90% of smokers get hooked on nicotine and cigarettes before the age of 20, and there is a long and disgraceful history of big tobacco marketing directly to kids. For example, the Joe Camel cartoon character. So the folks at big tobacco are well aware that if you market products to kids, kids will get a hold of them somehow. So this warrant article is about prohibiting the sale of 3 products aimed at kids and young people: flavored e-cigarettes, flavored tobacco, and cheap single cigars. And I just want to point out that flavored e-cigarettes are a particularly pernicious product, as this is an extremely easy way to get addicted to nicotine. And getting addicted to nicotine is bad for kids for 2 reasons. First of all, nicotine, it seems, primes young brains for addiction, making it easier for young people to subsequently get addicted to other drugs such as alcohol and cocaine. And secondly, there is data that has just emerged this past year that e-cigarettes seem to be associated with a bump in tobacco use among middle schoolers and high schoolers in the U.S. So if you look at the data over the last probably 2 decades, there's been a steady decline in the use of tobacco products among middle schoolers and high schoolers. Data from 2014 and 2015 published by the CDC has shown that there's actually been a bump in tobacco use, including cigarettes. That instead of going down, it's gone up slightly. There's been an increase in flavored tobacco used in hookahs, coincident with a massive surge in e-cigarette use. So that's why I ask you to follow the lead of our neighboring communities and ban the sale of these addictive drugs aimed at young people. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Ross is a Brookline resident, and I would ask all non-town meeting member speakers to give us your address, please. Dr. Sandell?
Good evening. I'm Megan Sandell. I'm a pediatrician. I'm a Brookline resident and full disclosure, wife of Dr. Ross. And so I wanted to just very briefly talk about the fact that we all have a common goal here, which is to help people not be addicted to tobacco. And as we think about that, we want to align our social actions, our policy actions towards that goal. This warrant article is specifically designed to align the actions to stop people from becoming addicted early in life and to stop products that are specifically designed for that. I think that what's really important in this is that this is a proven way of which to try and decrease that type of access. I specifically ask that we've studied this at great length, many nights that my husband has been able to come to committee meetings and other things, and I'm asking that we not refer this for further review, but that we actually pass it this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Rachel Martin?
Hi, my name is Rachel Martin. I live on the corner of Beacon Street and Tappan Street in Brookline. I am a Master's of Public Health student at Boston University, and I am a program coordinator for the 84 movement, where I work directly with youth based out of Boston. So the 84 movement is a Massachusetts youth tobacco prevention program that began in 2007 with the name referring to how many Massachusetts youth did not smoke at that time. So 84%. We now know that that number has increased to 92%. Great progress has been made and should continue to be made by passing Article 4 in the town of Brookline. As a public health student, we aim to improve health and health behaviors by designing systems that give us the chance to do so and try to put people in places where health decisions are easy to make. We aren't doing that by making flavored cigars easy to get and to smoke. We aren't helping youth be healthy, and we don't have any policies currently in place that facilitate this aspect of health. It's why we need to pass Article 4. I work with youth across the entire Commonwealth, and they consistently say that this is an issue they're passionate about. They're tired of being targeted with flavors designed to draw them in. They go into convenience stores all the time, and they're sick and tired of having tropical flavored cigars in their faces. Like this one, Honeyberry, that I bought around the corner 5 minutes before I got here. These belong in adult-only establishments. I've sat in several workshops with youth, and they are truly enraged that they are researched and sought out to buy these tobacco products. And as a 22-year-old, I'm not much older than the youth I work with, and I'm still part of the youth that tobacco is targeting. And when I found out for the first time that tobacco makes candy-flavored products like mango and white grape, and we don't stop them, I also was enraged. We give big tobacco the opportunity to target youth by letting them sell what they sell, where they sell it, and who they sell it to. And we have the opportunity and the responsibility to stop big tobacco from being able to do this. We have the responsibility to give the youth of Brookline the best opportunities for success. And we have to hear them when they tell us, and they tell me every week when I meet with them, that we've had enough of tobacco being front and center in our lives. According to the Surgeon General, at least 2 youth become regular smokers every single day, and like McKenna mentioned, 90% of smokers start before the age of 18. What is once a peach-flavored, easy-to-smoke and easy-to-buy 60-cent cigar soon becomes an addiction to nicotine. It's much harder to stop nicotine addiction than it is to just prevent it in the first place, and this prevention is not that hard. By not doing enough as a town to ensure that the youth cannot buy these products is to take opportunities away from the youth of Brookline for success. I ask you to pass Article 4 and live up to the responsibility that we have towards Brookline youth, and hear them loud and clear when they tell us that this is enough. Thank you.
Mr. Bassett and Mr. Vitolo, would you come forward, please?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Bassett, Precinct 6. My question, reservation, is only about the method of regulation. I think that regulating by price controls, minimum prices, is at best cumbersome. I think it may be unnecessary. We don't regulate alcohol that way. And it was said that 2.4 million people live in cities and towns with all these regulations. I wonder if all of those 2.4 million people are in places with price control regulations. And I wonder also who will enforce this when next May, perhaps we can increase the workload, which is now light, the measures, so the measures of wood and bark, maybe measures of wood, bark, and tobacco. I think we should consider seriously referring this so that the price will get another look at regulating by prices. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes, thank you. Marty Rosenthal, Precinct 9, and also co-chair with Frank Farlow of Brookline PACS. I'd like to hear more on the referral issue. When the PACS board looked at this 10 days ago, we were persuaded that waiting 8 months or so and studying the issues that seemed to be raised by the Selectmen Advisory Committee seemed the way to go. We yield to nobody in opposing tobacco generally. PACS people took the lead in our first anti-smoking bylaw, God knows how many decades ago. So, but a bylaw needs to be done carefully, and I'd like to hear from both sides of this debate as to the referral issue. This motion, I guess, has been revised recently, and we don't know much about whether it's addressed all those issues that have been noted before.
Well, Mr. Rosenthal, I deeply regret to inform you that I have no speakers who will speak in favor of referral. I have 2 others who are enthusiastically endorsing the main motion. Mr. Vitolo?
May I ask, Mr. Moderator, is referral going to be moved?
Oh, yes. It was moved at the beginning of the article.
But
And if the referral vote passes, we will not get to the main motion as per our usual procedures.
well, can we at least try to get some answers on the original proponents of referral? At least one of the bodies at the front of the audience.
We've already heard from Ms. Humphrey.
I know, but nobody's addressed this issue, I don't think. All right, well, that's my request, and if it's not going to get traction, then it won't be the first time in my career.
Well, that's sad but true. Mr. Vitolo?
Tommy Vitolo, town meeting member of Precinct 6, and as the petitioner of 3 tobacco control warrant articles that have passed nearly unanimously, I thought I'd chime in with a few observations that may even respond to a few of the recent questions at the microphone. The technical language in this warrant article is not novel. On the contrary, it's precisely the language that's being used in cities and towns across the Commonwealth. And the focus, of course, is chipping away at youth smoking. That's why we're going after kiddie flavors and products that cost less than a full pack of smokes. And the minimum price does help to keep products out of the hands of kids, and it's not a unique idea. Boston passed the minimum cigar price in 2012, and in fact, every community in the Commonwealth, John Bassett, has a minimum price on the pack of cigarettes because that was state law enacted in 2003. So we have tons of prior art on this. Every community in the Commonwealth does this with cigarettes. It's not crazy to also do it with cigars. So at the Tobacco Control Bylaw Committee meeting last night, committee of which I am a member, I made a couple of observations observing my colleagues. The first is that of the 3 members of the committee who are also town meeting members, they all individually expressed support for this warrant article passing, not being referred. And secondly, my good friend and local business owner Elias Audi, whose gas station does sell tobacco products, expressed concern. He said, I don't want to be the community that prohibits something and have my customers just drive down the street to Newton. And when we showed him the map that showed that, in fact, Brookline's the donut hole, that the other communities have passed these restrictions, he said, oh, well, sign me up. I'm all in favor. He thought it was great. That is a Brookline merchant and a well-respected member of the community who personally expressed support for this just last night. So unlike so many other aspects of our law, the state legislature allows cities and towns to promulgate additional regulations and restrictions, and this proposal is a good one because it chips away at the availability to and interest from young people. And so let's join Boston and Cambridge and Newton and Somerville and nearly 100 other Massachusetts communities in enacting this sensible improvement to our tobacco policy. And to the Paxies out there, including myself, I believe, I don't know for sure, but I believe that Frank and Marty won't hold a grudge if you in fact vote no on referral and follow that with a yes on the main motion. And I urge you to do exactly that.
Is Stacy Chacker here?
Hi, my name is Stacy Chacker. I'm a resident of Brookline. I'm also a public health professional. I have a daughter that goes to this high school. Actually, I don't really have anything else new to say. I have to say the idea of having kids not being able to walk into convenience stores and buy candy-flavored products and e-cigarettes would be a really great thing for this town. I'm lucky my kid does not smoke that I'm aware of or try these products, but I do know several teenagers in the state of Massachusetts, not in Brookline, who are addicted to cigarettes, and I think that we can really take a stand here today and pass this article. Thank you.
Thank you. As I have no more speakers, so we'll proceed with the votes. We vote first on the referral motion. If that passes by majority vote, that concludes our deliberations under Article 4. If it fails, we will take up the main motion. On the motion to refer the subject matter of this article to the Tobacco Control Committee, those in favor, please raise your hands. Those opposed, motion fails. On the main motion, on the Brown Supplement number 1, those in favor, please raise your hands. Those opposed, motion carries by a vote of 178 to 2. Are there any abstentions? 5 abstentions. Now we proceed to